Hello,
Hey.
and welcome to episode 2 of our Throne of Glass podcast that is still partially unnamed.
Partially unnamed. Still
We
figuring.
named the channel because we had to come up with something to make one,
Yep.
but could possibly change.
No, we'll take suggestions. We're
Yeah.
open to opinions.
So currently, Fire Breathing Book Queens, but which Delaney doesn't understand the reference yet, but we'll get
No, I got no clue.
um
Which is
otherwise,
fine. Process.
yeah. So I guess we can dive right in unless you have anything.
We're this far into our book already, which is wild.
I don't even have a bookmark. I've just
Well,
I'm like I left off on this chapter and just put nothing in the book.
I've got all my notes, and instead of
Gotcha.
I did last time, I have like numbers. Like I'm getting a system down.
See, I
And
read these
I,
next chapters and I have considerably way less things that I marked to talk about.
well, here are all of my things.
Perfect.
There's 20 of them.
I
I
have
have 20 talk.
three. I have three little marks
Oh god.
from we've ended on chapter 10, so starting back on chapter 11 through chapter 22. Two of the things are actually on the same page,
Come on.
and then one of them I don't even know what that is. Okay.
Well,
All right, so we will start off with we left right before the first
the
task.
first challenge
What word am I finding?
for like a while.
Yes, it did. So she's woken up by Kale. They are going to the first task,
Mm-hmm.
which they find out is archery.
Yeah. Which just had me thinking, number of like external sources that we're gonna be referencing between like all the other things, but it had me thinking Brave. And literally in my brain I had Merida's voice being like, archery, I choose archery. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We have to start in this first chapter though. So I think I definitely said it last episode where I was like, this is definitely going to be like an enemies to lovers trope. Literally, my chapter 11 takeaway was okay, but is Kale the enemy to lover? And that's my first note
That's what
of
you thought last time.
no, I thought it was going to be Dorian.
You thought both.
Did I?
You thought Kale first.
See, I don't. I think I meant it. I don't think I like acknowledge it to myself though. Like maybe I said it and actually mean it, but I was referencing Dorian when I said lovers. Yeah, I thought it was just like this little side character boy. But now I'm like, I don't know. Why are we talking about him? So yeah, he is that's my first note.
Okay. Anything else from that first chapter?
Nothing else from that first chapter. Except for and this only like keeps going.
That's not even the first task.
No, but
It
that's
was the first training.
yeah, that's
My
chapter
bad. Yes.
yeah. Um, I think I can't remember when my first. Hang on.
So after the first little training, they come together and they learn that Brulo is the weapons master. He'll be in charge of judging. Everyone goes around and introduces themselves finally, all of the champion contestants. Um, there's a couple army people, assassins, different thieves and such.
We just get a little bit of everybody, which we lose half of our named characters by the time that we're done with this section.
Correct. Um, then they start some training.
Yep. Oh, yeah, in this whole training thing where Kale is being very like smart and he's like, "Oh, just stay like in the middle of the pack." And I'm like, I thought you were supposed to be smart. The number of times that I thought that during this section of like, I thought you were supposed to be like smart and good at like self preservation. Wanting to show up this entire group of boys is very relatable, but it's not smart. Like, a
That's
good,
where like her arrogance is taking over a little bit.
yes.
In
Okay.
her.
So it makes me so mad because she's gonna show off and get in trouble at some point. Like that's inevitable. But it like you know how on Survivor, like it's always the people that just like chill for a while that make it like to the
Yeah.
end of Survivor.
I
It's like
literally was just watching the last episode. Do you watch Traders?
no, but
Mm.
about what
Where
yeah.
Dolores is just coasting and she literally just votes random people every single time.
I'm like, girl, like this is a good strategy, and I get it. Like you want to be able to take all these guys
She
down,
just
but
doesn't like to be underestimated.
right, like same, but also survival instincts. I thought you had them.
Okay. So we go through a couple chapters of training, the running, where she dropped her ring and then went and threw up so no one could see her throw up.
Yeah, with,
Uh,
like oh, well, there were times that I would like do track workouts in college, and then just immediately, like I was like, that is actually I put a note there and just said relatable. The end of chapter 12, I was like, now I know exactly what that feels like.
okay, and then we head into more.
Oh, beginning of chapter 13, that is when I started shipping Kale and Selena. My little I've got a note, and it's a little love note, and then the number 4 note on here is just ship.
Nice.
I like them. I like them because they have good banter. And we've gotten more like page time than her and Dorian have because I know that that comes. We get a little bit of that later on,
Yes, we do.
but I'm like, I don't really care about him.
Okay, so a little bit into 13 as well, we
Mhm.
run into Calton in the hallway, Calton, whatever, with,
Hmm.
I guess.
I should have prepared a pronunciation for this. Um, Nehemia.
Yes. Nehemia. Um,
I love.
so
I love her. She's
more,
excellent.
okay, cutting into more connections. I love the challenge. And there's a guy on there called Nehemiah, and it's pretty much the same except there's an H on the end. So the entire time I was reading, I was like Nehemiah, and I was like, it's a girl, not her name. It's Nehemia. But
Yeah.
I always have to like I hear it, I'm like, nope, that's not it. Let's correct myself. So she is from Ilway. Oh, I said that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Anyway.
she is the princess from there, so she is now in the castle. She does speak a different language.
Yeah. Which our girly pop Selena can also speak, which like for being a multilingual queen.
And they share in their disdain for Kelton.
Which is also very just I get that. Oh, what was it? Yeah, no, I liked her immediately. She's actually her and Kale are like my favorites in the series right now.
So they run into each other and they pretty much get rid of Kelton. They're like, yeah, we don't need you anymore.
We don't want to hang out with
And never again. And then so they talk a little bit. You can see a little bit when Selena is trying to give an excuse of how she knows the language.
Yeah.
And she said, I knew an EOA woman who taught me, and immediately she's like, a slave of yours.
Yeah, which that whole like section after that, that little paragraph just like made me so sad because I think, yeah, it was the line just because she'd left Endovir didn't mean Endovir had ceased to be, which is just like, it's just like a sad moment of like, yeah, I got out of this situation, but like so many other people are still in it.
Right. And you can't really like express that to
Yeah.
her because she's not supposed to know who you are. So they go through that, and
Hmm.
she explains that she is here because her father, wants her to learn the language to better serve her people. Um,
Like, I get because if this like kingdom is the one that's kind of like taking over everything, like it's a good like self-preservation strategy to be like, all right, yeah, you've got like the rapport built with them.
mhm.
And also it's like, well, they're not gonna, it's kind of like a safety net of
There's
her able to like, you know, she is there so she can have influence over what happens to her people, but also like they're not going to do anything to her because they still have this entire town, city, place that'll lose their minds if anything happens to her.
Yeah, which there's also still like slim possibility that she would like marry Dorian, which
Right.
she's
Right.
like, no, but to bring kingdoms together, always an option.
Yep. I know that kind of gets like mentioned on Dorian's and later in
Yeah.
our section as well. And is the queen is like, yeah, she's spicy.
She's a little spicy one there. So they get to talking and bonding, and then Kale sends her back to her room. He doesn't like that he's not included in the conversation because he
Yeah,
doesn't know what's going on.
he just has FOMO.
And then we switch actually into Kale's
Kale's
perspective.
uh,
Here's where I got my little tags. Oh,
I have no tags about this.
my first one. It's on 102. Where well actually it starts on the other page. The first thing was said enthralled by Princess Nehemia, and Kale goes, that headstrong girl. He immediately regretted the remark and his eyes narrowed.
Yep. Yeah.
On to the next page. She goes, and what's wrong with headstrong girls? Other than the fact that they're not wooden headed ninnies who can only open their mouths to give orders and gossip. Do you want to know the first thought in my head? Because I think you can guess it.
Cotton-headed ninny muggins.
I literally read that. I was like, love Elf.
Awareness. I don't even know.
That was my first guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then I have another one on the bottom of the page. What was it? Why did I mark this? Oh, um, I like this little thought. He said he wished for the months to fly by for her to be appointed champion, and then once her years of servitude were over, to be gone. So, like, he's not even thinking for like a second thought that she's not gonna win this thing. Like he's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be around her, but
Yes.
he's like, I just need her to win and then be free and then leave. Like he's not hoping like she loses and goes back to Endovir either. So I was like, that's a little sweet.
I agree. This is why I like him. Yeah, I think. Yeah, he has like no question in his mind that she's going to be able to like figure this out, or it's rigged.
Yeah, but I think Kale is so like, this is how things are done that he would never allow that to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so then we get into more lessons and Kale coming for lunch and then other things. talking about how much we hate Kane.
Yeah. Yeah. And then eyeball eater guy, which like,
We didn't get there yet.
oh, that was my next note.
Yeah, but we're
Just
close. So
right.
before that,
Okay.
uh, when they're meeting and she's like, Kale didn't show up, Knox Owen, who is one of the other champion guys, is the one that comes up to her and is like, oh, like, what do you suppose this is about? Like, why is everyone gathered here?
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a nice little conversation there.
I like him, but also like we shouldn't like people when we're all trying to like be the best.
Right.
And
Okay, yeah, but like,
why are we making friends?
so then the eye eater dies. Well, technically he died before this. This is when we learn he died.
No theories for like how this
Oh
man
god. Nothing
got
in your head.
got
I gotta
nothing.
be honest, I didn't either.
I have no idea unless it's like I don't even know, like a really sharp sword or like a lightsaber or something. I don't know. Like how do you even put something
Oh.
like how does
I really meant for like theories of like who killed him or like why he died, not like physically how he was cut into ribbons.
well also it just dawned on me that maybe like ribbons aren't like slices, just oh, speaking of
No, I think it's totally like actually sliced apart, like
oh, okay, okay, then yeah,
gruesome.
then
I mean
yeah.
obviously it's a book, we don't know. But like that's what we're taking away from it. That is also something that you will continue to read. Favorite phrase of hers.
Cut into ribbons.
Ribbons. Yep. Not the first time you'll hear that.
You know, I love that.
So yeah, so we learn about that, and then we have do do do. Oh, this is when the thing actually starts. So they're no, it's not.
Yeah, well, it's another it's practice for the it's just like target practice.
Yes. So it's not necessarily arrows. Like she's using daggers,
Right. But she is yeah, it is daggers and
and then
she's
she's helping Knox better
wait,
aim.
again, why are we doing this? Like what are we doing?
I don't
Um
know. Someone's being nice to her. She's been a slave for almost a year.
no, so this is where I have literally I've got two notes on the same page. It's on 109 at the top of the page. She's talking about her home city. She's like, "Oh, you're from there." And then she literally says she shouldn't have mentioned it. She didn't know why she mentioned it actually. Another one of those moments where I'm like, I thought this girl was smart. Like, why are you making silly mistakes like this besides for the plot? But I was so mad because I'm like, we talked up so much about like how smart she is and like how capable and like she can do anything. And like she's making these silly mistakes, like talking about her home city and
I mean, like technically, it's not really.
making friends. Why are we making friends with Knox? I get it. It's a cool name. He seems like a
It's
nice
my
dude,
cat's
but
name.
why? Oh, this is my first thought. But I was like, why are we making friends? Why are we doing this? This is not.
Because maybe we can use it to our advantage.
No, that's not what she's doing.
Right.
She's
But
dumb. I don't like. It. I don't like it. We're in it to win it. We're not. We are not here to make friends. So that.
so we get through that training, and then now we're back at lunch where Kale is complaining that all she does is read.
Which like, there's so many worse things that we could be doing, like trying to
What
escape.
else is she gonna do?
Exactly. Literally.
It's either that or play pool by herself.
Right. Yeah.
So then we.
Oh,
Oh,
but I will talk to you about your book. I saw at
okay.
lunch reading The Wind and the Rain. Boy, you can't make fun of her for reading and then also want to engage with her on reading. That's silly. And he doesn't want to talk about, actually, he literally talks about his whole entire life, which is so much trust to put in her. But you know what? We
So
got a world.
all about
And that's what I keep telling myself, like, ever since you said that, like, she wrote this really young, I like, really try to just, when I see something where I'm like, oh my God, why is this happening this way? And I'm like, all right. Early writer, which is still fantastic,
I
but
promise you it'll get better. I
really,
mean, it's not bad now.
no, agreed. But it's like, why? So the fact that there's 9 books in this series
Wait.
and still like info dumping, not even halfway through the first book. Be patient. World build. We got time.
So yeah, then talks about how he became captain of the guard, and
Brian,
then he says, "What about you?" And she's like, "I thought you didn't want to know anything about me." And then she reveals that her parents died when she was 8.
huh?
She was born in Terrasen.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all she said. She's like, "Yep," and that's it.
Yeah, but also I really, yeah, this like Arabin dude like sucks, and I just know that he's going to be an issue. Like, I don't like him.
No, we don't like him.
We don't like him,
No
and
spoilers. Everyone hates him.
which is like I've not heard one good thing about him.
No, there isn't.
Oh, so
Um,
chapter
and
15.
yeah, he's like, "Here, break your hand."
Yeah, which is wild. That's wild.
All right, here we go. Got to the first test, even though for like 3 chapters I thought we were already there. Um,
Archery. I choose.
so we get to that. They say, "Hey, you gotta shoot these targets. Whoever's not the closest, see you later."
Which is easy. I don't understand why she is showing off so much when we have this really good
Because
plan.
she wasn't gonna do it until she got pissed off.
Keep your emotions in check,
Right.
girl.
Also think
They're like towards the back of the line. You've seen plenty
this
of
girl's how old?
terrible.
How old is she again? Like 19 or something? Yeah. She's a child.
Which I about that with Dorian as well later on.
Um so yeah, they go through that. They are shooting
For herself.
arrows.
Yep.
One
Uh,
person gets
oh, oh,
eliminated.
oh. I have my first actual real life theory.
Okay.
And I don't even know what made me think of. I think I'm gonna make another Hunger Games reference, but you know how like
Why you
Katniss,
haven't already?
you know how Katniss like they're in this and she shoots it up towards like the game makers and everything, and
Yeah.
like doing her training because no one's paying attention to her.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I'm expecting that kind of moment, but and this is so like out of left field. But my first actual real life theory that is not just like based on context is I think that the champion, as one of the later tests, is going to have to kill either like their escort or their sponsor as like a final test to like test their loyalty.
All right. So like the people that brought that, so like she would have to kill like Kale or like Dorian.
Yeah. Which like that would be stupid for that to be a Dorian is literally the crown prince
Right.
unless the king wants what's his face stupid name to be first in line instead of
Right.
Dorian.
Oh, his brother, Holland.
Yes.
Yes.
Great way to be able to wipe Dorian off the board
And
would be,
not like have your hands, well, I mean, your hands would still be a little dirty about it, but
but you have
technically,
assassin do it that has no standing, and we're just like, well, it's for the champion. Like
yeah.
that is my first. I think my first like theory that I've ever had for anything that I've read ever.
You've ever had for anything.
But I was thinking about that and I was like, wait, is this an original thought? I'm sure.
This isn't something that like I read out of a book or found on TikTok.
Exactly. Because I've been actively avoiding spoilers. Also, I just like,
Yes.
I'm doing really good.
Good. Um Also, remember, don't look up any fan art if you want any.
No, I won't. Haven't. Won't.
All right. So we get through all of that. Who got eliminated?
I think it's nice that like they don't get killed if they get eliminated. They just have to go back.
True.
Like this is not like a Hunger Games situation
I
where
mean,
it's like,
it's because the majority of their lives that they came from are probably worse than death.
yeah, which
So,
we see later on.
yes.
All right, so we're running again, which just terrible.
So much running. This part. See, there's things that I could talk about. I just don't mark. The beginning of 16,
Mm-hmm.
they were running and talking after, and she's like, "Are you looking at my scars?" And
Oh yeah,
yes, when and she said those three because she has the three on her back are the biggest. Um, I received my first day in Endivere, and he said, "What did you do to deserve it?"
which is a whack. That is whack.
Wild. Why,
Whack.
why
That
did
is
you deserve to be whipped so hard that you literally have scars for the rest of your life?
like what do you ever
Crazy.
do with another human ever?
That's where I'm also you're the, oh, is it rigged? And I was like, Kale would literally never go to that. He is moral compass. He is a moral compass.
Yeah, yeah.
um, so it was deserve it. No one deserves to be whipped like an animal.
Yeah, that was terrible.
And then she kind of explains how she was whipped there, about she didn't befriend anyone. No one came to help her till the morning.
Yep,
And then they found out that that woman helped her, and then they raped and killed her. Yep.
which is awful.
And
Yeah,
then
and then he goes to say like, "But you were a woman in Endovir," and she's like, "Nah,
he's a
everyone."
little concerned.
And she's like, "No, everyone was afraid of me."
Yeah, they could try. So she kind of talks about almost getting to the wall again.
Mm-hmm.
And then she also makes just a little mention of, actually, this is in her head too. It's not even to Kale. She didn't need to voice her other suspicion that perhaps somehow Arabin had bribed the guards in Endivere for her safety. And then that was
Which
that.
seemed like someone that would do that, from what I
Right.
know. But whatever. She knows him better than I do.
Facts. So then everyone comes together again,
Yeah, and
and
stupid dummy just is like, I'm gonna run.
he's like, "I'm out. I'll see
Which
you guys
like
later."
I
And
get
they
it.
shoot him through the neck on the way out.
Yeah.
Um, and she's thoroughly shocked that they killed him, and I'm like,
Which
really?
wild to me. Like, what do you guys are all like
You're an
very,
assassin. You're
yeah,
the best assassin ever.
you guys like they're not gonna mess around with that.
And you're surprised that when they said you can't leave, they killed you. Weird.
Yeah.
Um,
But I get it.
so that was Sven. They killed Sven.
And
Poor Sven.
of course, and
And then that was the end of chapter 16.
yep.
Now we head to Dorian starting the chapter.
Oh my
I
god.
haven't seen him in a while.
Oh
This is
yeah.
when he sees his mother.
Yeah. The queen not knowing about this whole thing is like
Yeah,
it's not.
nobody in the castle knows.
I don't have good vibes about this because if it's I know that like a lot of the people who could stop anything bad from happening do know about it. Like all the guards and everything know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But also like we've seen Selena like take out a bunch of guards herself. Like no doubt any of these other guys can do the same. Like there's still like what 20 of them.
There's 30. They started with 35, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, that's right. We
So
don't
two
get to.
died and one got voted off. So there's
So we
32.
still have like a large number of these very highly skilled killers.
Yes.
The castle could so easily just be overrun.
Yeah.
Like if they all work together, there is no reason why they wouldn't be able to.
I'm not positive that they're all living there.
Where do they live?
I don't know. That just came into my head right now. Like maybe some of them like live in the town with the guards.
Huh.
Maybe not. Maybe they
With
live in like houses like next to the castle.
these people.
Right. But like they probably all live there. It's like technically two castles in one. There's like a stone part and then like a
Yeah,
grass.
that's true. Still, this whole thing just seems so stupid that the king is like, yeah, this is a great idea.
Yeah, and then they're having a fun little party.
Yeah, we love a good little party. Brian gets his list of people that he could marry.
Possible brides. And he's like, yeah, okay.
He's like, I don't know about that. Yeah, and that's where we come back to Princess Nehemia.
Yeah. There's no princesses left. Except her. She could be a princess. Well, she is a
Wow.
princess. She could be your princess.
So convenient that she's there.
And then he talks a little bit about her.
Hmm.
Nehemia wasn't exactly the best choice because there are rumors that she's kind of with the rebels.
All right.
So, talking about the list that we're getting in from the Queen about Dorian's perspectives.
And him being 19 makes so much sense as to why he is so dramatic.
Yes.
So, like, it all makes sense now, and I'm like, yeah, that checks out.
And then also that, so we were talking about she is kind of like in line with the rebels who are like are against his father, and how he's taking everything over. So like, why is she the one that they're sending here?
Which is, yeah, very. It seems like she's gonna end up being, like I said earlier, like she's gonna end up getting used as like leverage, which is not cool. Not cool. So maybe Dorian will end up marrying her just to be like, no, now she's my wife, so don't be mean to her or her area.
Yeah. And then now I got the last thing that I marked here, and I'm not sure why. So let's read it. Um, it's on the top of 129.
Okay. I actually, oh no, that's
Oh,
just,
I got it. So talking about how he feels and like how he's not really feeling like he fits in right now. He felt as if there were something inside of him that didn't fit in with their merriment and their willing ignorance of the world outside the castle. It went beyond his title. He had joined their company early in his adolescence, but it had become apparent that he'd always be a step away. The worst of it that he didn't seem he was different or that he felt different were not for Kale. He would feel immensely lonely. It's like we got some
which
deeper issues inside Dorian here.
I didn't take this as anything besides he's being melodramatic because he's not. Okay, so yeah, so, uh, no, and I think, his mom makes a really good point. And, uh, no, because I guess, okay, so I get it. He's feeling 19-year-old feelings and being whatever. I don't know. I guess I get where he's coming from of just like, oh, like this was fun, but like there's bigger issues in the world, mom and dad.
Like,
Why are you sitting at parties? There's real issues. That's what it's giving. But like, I love that stance. It's good for him.
all right, and then he left there and walks in on Selena and Nehemia.
For them. And he's like, no, you guys can't have any fun. And they're like, no, like we can. And he's like, oh, okay. And then Kale comes in and does the exact same thing.
He's just a little more aggressive about it. He's like, no fun.
Which is so silly. And I get it. I get, obviously, I get why they're like, this isn't okay. But
Yeah.
like,
And then before Kale steps up to that, actually, when Dorian's like, can I talk to you for a minute? And like, at one
yeah.
point, she was saying like, well, I've been kind of lonely or whatever,
Hmm.
or you're really talkative today, and it's like, when have you tried to talk to me? First of all,
Correct.
and he's like, I sent you books. He's like, did you ever ask me if I read the books? Period. It's like, damn.
Yep.
And then also, like, in his thoughts, did she forget who she's speaking to? Like, yeah, you're a prince, but she obviously does not care.
No. No. It doesn't have any respect for like any of it, which is like so valid.
Yeah, and then Kale comes in and is like,
He's
what's
like, no.
going on here? And then he actually decides Dorian is going to spar with Nehemia. And he's like, this is not going to be happening.
Wait, yeah, because that goes into the beginning of eight,
Yeah.
and that's
In the
when
beginning
she
of 18, they're like
is like,
dancing.
I'm training. No, you're not. He's like, stop. You're not allowed to do this. And she's like, you're just afraid of me. And he's like, I'm just over it right now. Is he's all like, you guys can't spar together. This is not okay. And she's like, you're just afraid. And he's like, don't flatter yourself. And then she's like, I hate you. And I'm like, well, I am not her biggest fan right now.
All right. And then at the end of that chapter, he also says, I'm not going to pretend to know how a criminal mind works.
Yeah,
And she's like, I actually felt guilty, but now I don't.
exactly. Yep. And then
And then she's like yelling, and then she hates you. She's just like, I hate being told what I can't do, and I hate you.
and then he's just like, you done? You get that all out of your system? You feel better now?
Yeah. All right. 19, we're back with
This was not a POV that I was expecting to see.
yeah. And she's watching the Duke talk with the Queen. And it's kind of like a thing that she's gonna marry the Duke, even though she wants Dorian.
Yeah, she's got like an arranged marriage, which honestly, she's being the smartest one in all of this right now, where she's like, I know this guy sucks, but I'm
How
doing
am
what
I
I
getting to the castle?
exactly. She's got the bigger picture in mind. You know what? Maybe she could, Selena could learn a little bit from her. Keep the big picture in mind.
And then we're getting to how she's prying just a little bit, wants to know what the Queen's saying.
Yeah. Which it's so funny how she just like hypes up Selena.
Yeah. And then that's like a thing for the Duke because he knows who
Definitely.
I mean, she doesn't know who she is, but he knows that she's in the thing. And
Right.
he's like, what do you mean they like each other? Which, like, barely. She's
She's just
just kind
at
of
a
being crazy.
standpoint of like court, you know, I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, she's like, I just see them together. She has no idea, like, why they're actually there together.
Exactly. And he's like, what do you know? And she's
Yeah,
like, wait,
he's like, that's impossible.
they're talking about two completely different things, which
Yeah.
I loved this. This was very funny to me.
And then that conversation just kind of ends a little bit, and
Yeah.
we move on to Kale and Dorian talking.
Yeah.
And Kale's like, you seem rather friendly with Sardothian.
Mm-hmm.
Jealous, are we?
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to play it off. He's like, she's an assassin.
Dorian.
Stay away from her. It's like, I'm sorry. Who are you to tell the prince what to do?
Like, no, we go way back. It's fine. Yeah, and they're talking about the the eye eater.
Yeah. And they don't know
It
what
I
happens there.
I have no idea. The fact that like the brain is gone, like everything is gone. I'm like, what?
No thanks.
It. So yeah, I have no theories for that.
A quick conversation we had to 20 where Selena is finishing reading and she's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm bored as shit. I'm not gonna play pool. There's the
Yep.
piano forte.
The piano. One of my 500
The
million.
piano forte.
The forte. One of my 500 million skills I have available to me, along with being an assassin.
Yeah. Well, then she talks about how Arabin made her play. That was one of the things
Hmm.
um,
And
getting
starts.
her to play. She also like says it so the way music could break and heal and make everything seem possible and heroic. Very dramatic about the piano.
Yeah.
But then we kind of learn that this is all linked back to Sam,
Mm-hmm.
who
Which, like, why are we gonna bring him up if he's not gonna be important later?
true.
And that was another theory that I had. I was like, is it his fault that she got caught? Moving on.
No, it's not actually his fault. But that's a deep dive that we will not get to until much later. Sorry. Um so then she starts playing and she's kind of losing herself in the music and then Dorian walks in.
Oh no. That's definitely what Assassin's Blade is about. Oh no.
Assassin's Blade is about it's the prequel, so it's her learning from Arabin and all of her antics with that.
You're right. That would have made me sad.
You don't know what you're talking about, by the way.
I bet I do.
You don't. I promise you, you don't.
That's my theory.
Okay.
2 whole theories out of this section. Okay. All right. Anyway.
So Dorian like sits behind her and is like starts to say you play beautifully, and then she's just like jumps up. It's like,
Why? Does she
I'm scared.
have awareness of her surroundings?
It's like you didn't notice that he walked up to you like that. You're supposed to be an assassin. I understand you're in your feels. I would still notice if someone's walking up behind me and sitting down before they said something.
She's dialed in. Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they kind of have this little conversation.
Yep.
She's like, "Why are you here?" He's like, "You decided to meet tonight, don't you remember?" It's like, "I thought you were kidding."
Yeah, they just have this whole back and forth, and she's like not having it. She's like, "This was fun like 3 hours ago," and I'm
Yeah,
like, "Not
like I'm
right now.
not in
It's
the mood for
not."
this whole thing. One thing is she wants to know specifically, did Kale give the order to kill Sven? Like, would he
Yeah.
do that?
Like, I mean, I get that. So like, as because he's like what captain the guard. So like, I get that that would be his role, but this is probably like this is not a spur of the moment decision. This is like stuff that gets
Right.
planned.
Which is
Like it,
exactly like what it was. Like he's
not
like,
waiting,
no, my father commanded everyone to shoot any of them if they tried to escape.
which like makes sense given the circumstances.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, so like, how are you guys getting along? He's trying to be a little wingman here.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to have this conversation.
Leave me alone. Get out of
I'm
my
like
room.
piano forte and my dead boyfriend.
And then
Please no.
he's like, I'd rather be hated than invisible. She's like, you're lonely? Lonely? No fucking shit, dude. Like,
It made me stop. I was like, he was not reading the room at
no,
all.
no,
She's
he is
so upset, and he's
little, like,
like,
entitled teenage boy.
yeah, exactly. I was like, no. And
And
she's like,
then,
I'm seen as less than I am. I don't want to be seen as just like one of your girls.
yeah,
And I'm like, that would honestly be a really good cover for you right now. Like, why are you not playing into this?
right. No. She wouldn't want to stoop that low.
Which is so stupid. Isn't the goal survival?
Exactly.
Like,
She's like, you can leave now.
yeah. She's
Huh?
like, get
You're kicking me out?
this is my house. And she's like,
He's like, this is my room. And then he's like, why would I be thrown out of your rooms for sharing the truth? You just called me a whoremonger.
Which, I mean,
And then he's like, tell me about your life. How'd you learn to play the piano? It was so sad. Were you thinking about a secret lover? I practice. And yes, I was. You're quite prickly tonight.
it's like, boy, you were saying all of the wrong things right now. This is
Yeah.
not.
And then she's just like, no, thank you.
And,
You cannot gawk at me. I am not a carnival exhibit. Like,
and then she makes fun of his choice of book. She's like, as someone who gave me the crown of a hero to read, but she's a rather fanciful mind that yearns for adventure.
I don't think you're an adventure. It's like, really? And then he's like, okay, I'll go. I'll return soon.
So dumb. And then he's like, oh, but like your lover, is he like here though?
Yeah. Does he like
No.
live in this castle? His name was Sam. Was Sam. Huh. Can't pick up on anything else, but he picks up on the was.
I don't like either of them.
And he died 13 months ago, so I'm sorry, so am I. And then she's like,
And she has
CFO.
another hero, so
Yep. And then we head straight into test 2.
yeah.
Where she's dangling from a wall of a castle.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that one of the champions is gone and no one knows where he is, like that's concerning security issues.
Yeah. See,
what are we?
Oh, shit.
Whack. That is. How do you not know where this like?
I don't know.
Ended
They're
up.
gone.
But anyway,
I mean, like eventually we know why, because like he's
not have better security on these.
Well, it's also because like the security is provided by each person.
We should be having better security throughout.
So it's like maybe we should be covering this a little bit.
Yeah. She was very smart on this test.
Okay,
up until,
like picking
up until wasn't.
Picking what like the sticky tar, like whatever it is, like you're gonna grip to the wall like Spider-Man, like that actually works.
Listen, it's a good.
And at one point she was talking about her toe gripping. I was like, this is weird.
But like, yeah.
So like everyone else picks a rope and they're like swinging from gargoyle to gargoyle.
Yep.
And then they're all just kind of going at each other.
Ned falls. Bye, Ned.
Bye, Ned.
Bye, Ned. Hope you find your dad. Anyway,
and then Varen, he smuggled in.
Which again, he smuggled in like a whole knife or dagger or something. I'm like, what? What?
See, that's the point where I'm like, okay, maybe, which I never thought about this before. Maybe his coach was like, here, cut someone's throat. Like, I won't tell. You got to give it back after, though. Like,
big risk to take.
Yes.
Because, like, if we think about what Celaena can do with one knife, so dumb. Yeah, and I don't understand, besides for the plot.
Wait, I lied. It wasn't Varen, it was Grave.
Yeah, you're so right. Yep.
Grave is the one that's and then she steals a dude's rope. She's like, fuck you, dude. I got this rope. And
now I have tar and rope.
I'm cheating. And jumps off to save him.
Which is insane.
Yes. This is like the other thing, like, okay, like you can have friends. This is like
This
You're
is,
crazy.
yeah, only one of you can win. This is where it gets Hunger Games. It's like, why are we bothering to save that? Like, you're gonna have to fight later. Exactly. He can worry about his own self. I don't care that, and he's not even good at anything. I mean, I guess he did okay with he did alright with the arrows, but he
Yeah.
like didn't know how to throw a dagger. Like, he knows how to do one thing.
Yeah. He's not doing the best.
So dumb.
So she gets all cut up and out of breath and everything, jumping after him.
This is not under the radar. This is making a
Yeah.
whole spectacle
Which
of
she says, she's like, yeah, I kind of messed up. No longer under the radar.
which is just
And
silly.
then even with
I,
that, Kale's like, weren't you supposed to how to learn to lose gracefully?
mm-hmm. I'm not big on like physics and stuff, but there's no way that rope held if she is falling with a grown man at the speed that you fall at.
Yeah.
No way that rope holds. And doesn't like break her spine in half. Like like the physics of that, I'm like, I know I'm not a physics person, but that doesn't work.
I mean, she also wasn't like straight down. It was like,
But like the fact that she could also like continue climbing up after like she
correct. Yes.
like ain't no way. Ain't no way.
So we get to that part just talking to Kale after. She's like, at least you didn't get in last, but Knox got in last, but some people like fell and died, so they didn't
Exactly.
like eliminate
That's even
people.
worse.
Yeah. So she was like, we're supposed to lose gracefully. He's like, no. Arabin told me that second place was just a nice title for the first loser. Which, my boy Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last. Which is when Kale like puts together like she was trained by Arabin, which I just don't know. Like, how did we get this far and you didn't know that?
Right. You would think that like they would know enough
He's like
about.
the king of assassins. It's like you don't get called fucking Ardelin, whatever it's like, however we say it. Like their assassin, like the entire
Right.
country's assassin,
Right.
without knowing the king of assassins.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
Wild.
and he's like, you know, my master. He's like, oh, I forgot. Really? You forgot that, Kale? Are you dumb?
Silly.
And then she kind of goes through like who taught her like fighting masters and rice fields from the southern continent, poison experts, and she went to the silent assassins in the Red Desert. No price was too high for him. And then she learned that she'd had to pay it all back, whatever he
Yeah.
did.
Which is whack and seems unethical. But
Yeah.
then we are obvious.
And then he's like, courtesans do the same thing, which are pretty much just like prostitutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
and
And Kale's
she's
like,
like,
wild. I didn't know that that's how any of that worked.
okay, crazy. And then we're like, oh, you still haven't apologized.
Girl, you said way worse things than he did. You need to apologize first.
I won't apologize for speaking the truth. He's like, you treated me like I'm a crazed criminal. And you said you hated me more than anyone alive. Oh no. She hates you? Crazy. Gosh.
And then they just end up being
I do
they laugh.
hate you.
They have a little food fight, and then bummer, the people that didn't show up or the champion that didn't show up.
He's like, oh, right. That guy was mauled and dismembered in a stairwell. Go back to that. So that put a cast over the next 2 weeks. They had 2 more tests that we just like don't care about. Stealth and tracking. No other champions were murdered.
Yeah, but just like breezing through 2 other tests is wild.
Yeah. Dorian has not gone back to talk to her. He only shows up during the tests. Um, there were only 9 weeks left until the final duel, and those 4 spots were starting to look rather precious. Obviously, Kane would be there. Who else was going to be there? We don't know.
Obviously
She's
her,
second guessing herself now.
which is wild because she literally, even after like all that time in the mines and everything, she never like doubted herself. And now that where it counts, we're doubting ourselves now. Why? For why? For why? What are we?
For why? And then we hit chapter 23, which we have not gotten to yet, and that is uh 11 to 22.
Yep.
Any
Let's see.
final thoughts?
Just that all of these running exercises and everything had me thinking that I want to go back to the gym anyway. So maybe we'll make it a fun little thing where I'll make little, I can make a little challenge out of it, and I'll do running exercises if we get enough subscribers or something. I'll make a little fitness segment of how to train
I
like
won't. You can.
exactly. We'll just have
I
a little
won't be doing that.
side segment. That's just motivation for me to get back to the gym, though.
I'll do like anything else. I'll do some
You
archery. I'll throw some knives.
compare romanticy.
Yeah. So that's it for now.
Oh yeah. well,
All right. I guess we'll just do that.
well, remember to like, subscribe, comment, share.
Follow us on TikTok.
Follow us on TikTok.
Do the things.
Yeah. Let us make this our day job.
Yeah. Okay. Fucking wish.
You never know. Never know. Could be like
Mighty.
the basement yard.
I fucking love the basement yard.
I they make me laugh so much.
Ugh.
All right. Well, till next time.
See you later. Okay, bye.
Bye.